Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro Tour European Weekly. Today is June 8th in the year 2020, otherwise known as the final year of planet Earth. In the top right, we have the Blue Protoss player. He is Arrogfire. I'm just going to call him Fire, or Arog, like he plays for the New York Yankees. His opponent in the bottom left, an extremely handsome jacked Protoss player. He is Showtime. And we just had a PvP matchup here, but you know, my choices are sit in the lobby and not cast anything, or cast the games that come to me. So, another PvP. We're going to get a little bit of education here. Nathanias is going to be learning. You know what? I like learning. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain about the PvP. I like learning. I like seeing new things. I like it when my brain becomes less smooth. I'm sure many of you agree. Or maybe some of you guys would like to have a smooth brain. That's also possible. It's really not my place to say. It's really not my place to say. So the probe scouts going out, 2 gateways, standard schmandard, core behind, 2 on each gas over here, 3 on each gas. So a little bit less gas being collected, it would seem, by Monsieur Arog. But Showtime with a proxy pylon and Arog with a proxy pylon. So we're getting a little bit back to normal from that Mana series, where we are definitely going to have some proxy shenanigans as the cybernetics core finishes for both. Arog is going to boot up a zealot, perhaps as a just-in-case insurance. He cancels it. Stargate for Showtime proxied, and a robo proxied for Arog. So this, I got to be real with you, man. This is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, so I'm going to just try to cover this and give you guys some good commentary following what happens. I'm not going to try and break this down because proxies and PvP, well, Protoss players themselves have said that they can't really figure it out. So Showtime comes in. He says, oh, your second pylon is just now starting. Well, it's literally impossible for you to saturate your main base with only 1 pylon and a nexus. So clearly there is another pylon somewhere. So he should know that he's getting proxied. Now Arog's going to try and get in. And here's the issue. Arog's probe gets in there, right? Now he saw the same thing, the very late second pylon. So they should both know that they're getting proxied. Now, it's a proxy immortal for Arog, and he's booting up stalkers, as he is going to expect this oracle that's coming from Showtime. And I do feel like this is, I mean, can the proxy rebel break him from this position? I'm not really sure, because I don't think the immortal on its own will do it. I don't even know that 2 immortals on their own would do it. But he kind of needs all of his units here if he doesn't want to take damage from this oracle. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's defended it, quote unquote defended it, but it's not like there's really a whole lot else that the stalkers get to do now, because he has to kind of be worried about it for the rest of the game. He's going to rally a Phoenix back, and just the Phoenix's ability to neutralize the immortal by lifting it, worth its weight in gold. Like that's just such a strong utility to have. The graviton beam, and also as the ability to push the warp prism off as well. For the people that were asking and wondering, the dog has his head on my foot right now. His eyes are wide open. I do not know why his eyes are wide open. I assume he's trying to sleep, but maybe the sound of my voice. I haven't really been casting too much lately, so he might just be confused. He's like, what's going on over here? I'm trying to take a nap. Won't you just shut your mouth and play Madden like you usually do? No, Lou, that was on the day off. So Phoenix comes home. This is a pretty sizable force, though, right? I mean, immortals are something to be feared. The Stargate just doesn't end up being very useful. But Showtime has his own immortal. He made a pretty smooth transition back into Robo behind this. And at the very least, the Phoenix is going to be able to lift up something. It will have that ability to use the utility in such a way that he can kind of get something done. Good Oracle tag. So he just wants to see what's what. I do not think he can really save this gateway, though. You know, it's hard to hold anything at the ramp when you're being poked like this. He does not want to have a force field put in the middle of his army, because then only half of it will really be able to fight. And there, you got to be careful about those ones right there. I mean, what Showtime needs to do, yeah, get his own Warp Prism out. You really don't want to lose anything else. It's very hard, though, because there's no right move, right? If he steps forward, he still can't save it because the Adepts don't have the DPS. And if he had just put his Immortal up front, then his Immortal would have been targeted down. But the Prism is almost ready. The Sentries are low on energy. So the opportunity to try and jump on this, I think, is very real. There's not too much more firepower left here. If he drops the Immortals down on the side. Oh, that's actually a really good play, though. So he gets supply blocked. He has 2 pylons being built. So that Immortal's in the way. But if he threatens with the Adept Shades, now that there's not a full wall anymore, now that he doesn't have the ability to wall, I definitely think that that's going to become an issue for him. And, I mean, Arog, he knows that Showtime is a terrifying opponent to have to go up against. So he really does want to try and just win the game right here off of this if he can. He doesn't want this game to go long, because then he's going to run into Demour. But you know what? Good use of the Oracle, having it tucked back here to deal with the Adepts. Does it have enough energy to kill this one? Boop, boop, beep, bop, bop. Yes, he does. Just enough. Just enough energy. So the Immortals get dropped on the ramp. His Adepts are going to shade down. And unfortunately, the 3 Immortals here for Arrogfire and a 4th coming in. I do not know that Showtime is going to be able to crack this nut open. There's a lot of firepower still here for Arog. He's trying to get to the Prism. Good micro so far. Actually, fantastic micro with the Immortals, but he does lose one of them. And now he somehow has to kill 4 Immortals with just 2. He has the ramp, but oh my god. Well, that's PvP in a nutshell. He's going up to 5 Immortals. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Immortals, man. Just Immortals, dog. Just keep building Immortals. You know? That's why if you put an E in the middle of it, it's still called Immortals. Because you just need more of them. That's my high-level analysis for this PvP. This is a tough spot to be in. Showtime looks like he's going to lose this game. I don't know how he's going to defend against this. It looks like he got... Yeah, no, he built another Oracle across the map, but there's still 2 Stalkers there, so it doesn't matter. He walled himself in. That Oracle... Those Stalkers actually can't even leave his base. Like, I don't know if he's going to... I don't know. I don't know what he could do. I guess getting Phoenix isn't the worst play, but... If he's not building Immortals nonstop, I don't think that he could ever really recover economically. Yeah, and look here. He doesn't want to also spend his resources trying to rebuild probes that these Adepts got. Like, that force field at the ramp's not bad, but... I don't know what the game plan is for actually breaking this and winning. Oh, use the Oracle to try and get the pylon. This Immortal still finishes tragically. But I actually do like that a lot. She's going to unpower that. There are no probes on the map. Right? I do not believe that there's any probes that are on the open field. Oh, wait, there's this one. So this probe, this is the only probe right now that could actually go and try to start that back up again. And I do think that he will try to repower that robotics facility. Since it's still 1 base versus 1 base, anything can happen. There's not a lot of Stalkers anymore. So, I mean, the Phoenix are definitely not a bad tool to try and use here. At least soften it up in case he tries to go for it again. Just make use of that shield regeneration. And honestly, if I would want to kill this probe. There's no... Oh, okay, never mind. He opened it up. I'm stupid. But Jesus, he's got 7 Immortals outside of his base. What do you do against this? He's got 7 Immortals. He should have just started chrono boosting Void Rays, honestly. He should have just made a bunch of Voids, be my guess. So both of them are at half capacity for the mineral lines. But he brings the Oracle in with the Phoenix. And he is starting to wreck and top deck the probe line. Trying to bring everything out over there while simultaneously holding back home. He's sending that Oracle on the probes. Really just trying to limit the probe count. Arog now down to 16 workers. It's very hard to break this ramp. It's going to be very, very, very hard. If he could get his whole army to fight head to head, I think the possibility is there. But elevatoring in... Well, does Showtime see? Well, he could try. No, he's going to pull back and just... try to let this game transition forward. I guess he's feeling confident with that Nexus.
Or is he? Never mind. He's back in the natural. Back at it again. Is.
He's going to warp another sentry. He just wants to lock him in. I think that's the really good play. I don't know that you need your whole army here, but without any way to force him to recall, I suppose it doesn't matter too much. His Robo's just kind of stuck out there. He's got the Phoenix. Oh, geez Louise. Yeah, that's scary. I mean, that's still damage that the Immortal will never have healed, right? The Immortal will never actually restore that. He's trying to juggle his army down the ramp. He's actually trying to get everything down here to fight and take his natural. Not bad. He's going to be able to at least grab a Stalker for his trouble there. Careful with that ramp. He warps in 2 more sentries. He really wants that prism. Oh, he's just going to yeet it. Yeah. Okay. That's actually a really good move. He doesn't lose a single Phoenix. He yeets down the prism. He's going to take his Nexus. And he has a couple more workers. Of course, he's oversaturated on his main, so he can't really make use of those workers. He's going to long distance mine. But the natural's done for Arog. So income-wise, things should be looking a little bit better for our blue Protoss player. Man, this has been a pretty intense PvP to start, even in just game 1. He's going to kill the Robo. I mean, he still has, like, you know, Showtime still needs to be careful. His opponent still has 7 Immortals. Like, 7 Immortals is wild. In most normal PvPs, you don't even reach that amount, even in, like, a late game. Like, at some point, you say to yourself that you want to balance it out with other units, but because of the nature of a proxy robotics facility. But I do like this. He's going to do 2 Immortal drop, and he has the Phoenix here. So I actually like this a lot, because he could warp units in. He could try to push here on this side at the same time. And this is really going to be a massive test of his patience, of his abilities. Look at that. He's focusing down the probes. If the Immortals can shoot in the same frame, then the probes will die instantly. That's a really important thing to note, because they do one shot if they shoot together. But that is not always going to be a crazy easy thing to do. So a good couple probes picked off there, and that's gonna hemorrhage some of the gas income. While Mana's natural, excuse me, Showtime. Oh my god, my brain's already back to that Mana match. Well, Showtime's going to be picking up he's got it saturated now up to 14 probes there. So he's feeling pretty good about himself. And this Oracle comes back at it again. Another 3 workers picked off. Arog will respond by destroying the destructible plates. And that's kind of what I was worried about, though, right? This game is slowly teetering back into Showtime's control for no reason other than this aggressive push wasn't enough to kill him. And Showtime is demonstrating his mastery of the game, of being able to play a little bit more drawn out, a little bit more wild in terms of the matches setup. If there's anything that we know about Showtime, it's that he's also fantastic at being able to do all of this stuff. Like, he's actually really good. He's actually really, really good. We know that of Showtime. And I can't tell you too much about Arrogfire. He's obviously got a lot of skill. Grandmaster European Protoss player. But, you know, it's that's the difference. That's the difference between a top 5 foreign toss and everybody else. The Showtime's played a really good game here. It's not over, but he's certainly in a much better spot than he was, relatively speaking, earlier with all those units outside his base. I wonder if these Phoenix are going to try and snipe a sentry. Oh, you know what? Yeah, pick off. Oh, that Immortal doesn't have barrier available? Oh my god. So this Immortal is actually dead. That's crazy. How did that Immortal didn't have its... Oh wait, it doesn't trigger if it's lifted, right? Graviton Beam disables abilities, I think. Interesting. Disabling its abilities. Yeah. Wow. I didn't actually realize Phoenix could kill Immortals that easily. That is interesting. And see, now he's going into charge lots, Archons. But I think we all know this type of army runs out, right? You can't rely on Stalkers without Disruptors. And Disruptors, we haven't really seen Disruptors be a massive part of PvP as like a staple unit. There are definitely a good amount of players that still like them. It's not like it's never used, but we're certainly long past the period of time in Legacy of the Void where every single game was, well, PvP bowling. And PvP used to just be bowling. It's true. It's true. That's it. It was just Stalker Disruptor versus Stalker Disruptor. And it was basically whichever player was willing to blink into the other would lose first. As soon as you thought you won, you dive in and then you lose because there were 2 more Disruptors you couldn't see. And then they kill 30 supply of Stalkers in 2 hits. And you ask yourself, why, God? Why? But the other thing as well is the charge lots are just always going to be good against Disruptors, because if you're trying to hit Zealots while they're charging, they're very fast, so naturally that makes them difficult to land hits on. But also at the same time, they're going to be close to your units if they're charging as well, and that just makes things difficult. So we do have a Disruptor on the way now. There's a lot of stalkers here. He's trying to rely on force fields, but we have 4 Archons. So force fields alone are not going to cut it. That first disruptor really needs to hit absolute crazy Pater in order to seal the deal here for Arrogfire if he wants to try and take this game control back. He picks off 1 Immortal, 2 Immortal, 3. Disruptor's going to hit 1 of the Immortals, I think popping off some of the shields of the other, but this position, very, very strong. He's got the Warp Prism right here, and that's the thing about going for charge lot-based strategies is they're dirt cheap, and he can crank them out. And because of the way that the lopsided gas and mineral expenditure goes, I mean, he can warp in a bunch of High Templar right here and just build Archons in his base. Obviously, they're going to take a little bit longer, but yeah, Showtime did it, man. He held on. I don't think the proxy situation really went in his favor, but he kept it together. And, well, honestly, what more do you need to do than that? Very well played, very well played. And we're going to get into game number 2 as soon as we can. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to go into game number 2 now. We got Showtime versus Arrogfire as the lobby counts down. Dropping some mules on you as we're playing on Simulacrum. Man, I'm not a fan of this map. I don't think I've won ever. I literally don't think I've won a single game on this map. And I mean that very seriously. I'm always very serious all the time. Very serious, very professional. In the top left, there's the blue Protoss player. Did a great job recovering from that 1 base contain. He is Showtime. He faces off against the red Protoss player in the southeast. Had a pretty good start, but couldn't take it to the late game. He was Arrogfire. And by was, I mean is. He's not dead or anything. Jeez, man. Get it together. So we'll see if we get more proxy shenanigans. That's what I've been hearing a lot about in PvP. I've still been hearing about it like months after. And normally the metagame rotates, flip thing, flop it's in reverse, sit, let me work it type situations. Like those are normal, but not really the case here today. So that's quite interesting to think about. You really only have so much that you can do in certain situations. But I think even without being able to do damage with that Oracle, Showtime really demonstrated not only his fantastic decision making, but his control of being able to use a lower amount of, frankly speaking, weaker units. And that's tough. That's tough. So we'll have to see what else can be done. We'll have to see if there's anything that Arrogfire can pull out of his hat to try and clap Showtime's cheeks. Now, Showtime's sending 2 probe scouts out, so he's looking for a proxy And he could theoretically still be trying to proxy himself, but with his second pylon being built in his main base, I do feel it's a lot more likely he's going to do something defensive. Arrogfire has picked quite a random location to build his proxy, and I think Protoss players have kind of been learning that the best way to proxy anybody is to be as random as you can. You have to be like a 2010 MySpace girl, right? You have to just, oh, I'm so random, XD. With your, you know, like blonde streak through your hair and your black tank top. Like you just, you know, you're so original and unique. Like you know, the other millions of people literally dressing the same. Said the guy who wears shorts and a tank top literally every single day because he lives somewhere where it's sunny and warm. So Showtime's going to pick off that probe scout. He's going for quite a few stalkers. Maybe he's just going to get a Twilight. Okay, Robo. So I wasn't sure if he wanted to try and play a micro game or a utility game. The Warp Prism is worth millions, in my opinion. It's like, so you have to have it. You have to have it. And it is going to be a proxy immortal again from Arrogfire. Will he get up to 7 of them? That's a big question because Showtime saw it, so he knows. Actually, that might be why he went for the Robo instead of a Twilight. I'm sure he'd love to try and get the jump on this. I think it will be hard to try and like push the Robo itself, right? Because I mean, I imagine in my mind, like 4 stalkers could beat an immortal, but he needs to pick off the other units that are out on the map first for that to even be possible. Because if he fights with an even number of forces and the immortal, then things fall apart quickly. But I actually don't mind this because what he's doing is he's forcing his opponent to go back home. So the value of having this proxy, of being able to hide the information, is not necessarily there. He has to... Oh, he's stepping in deep, though. Beautiful force field. Showtime. He's going to lose everything here. I don't know. Maybe he could kill a stalker if he's lucky. Yeah. One. Oh, God. Oh, lordy, lordy. He walled himself off again, by the way. So he only has the 1 probe on the outside. And now he's got a prism, an immortal, several stalkers making their way towards him. He does have 2 shield batteries and an immortal of his own. He's getting his own prism. So I don't hate this yet. He doesn't have a good answer for the 1 immortal. As long as it's just 1 versus 1, that immortal can actually be a pretty big powerhouse with the use of some force fields too. And he is going to start to pinch a few of these units off. Now, of course, with that prism, you basically have an infinite number of free blinks as long as you can keep your micro up. So things to keep in mind as Arrogfire is going to once again rally immortals to the front of Showtime's base, I assume, until Showtime basically starves him out from turtling and they both try to expand and then things get weird. So I think, as we all saw in the last game, Fire did not have a very good showing once we got past this phase, but he did a really good job of containing Showtime. So we'll see what happens. This time around, there's no Phoenix to try and snipe the prism. He did use his own prism. Actually, I didn't even realize that Showtime uses his prism to come shut down this Robo, and that's actually really nice. There is still a probe here. He could go and try to repower it, and I do believe that he will. Yeah, he's headed straight there. Look, Showtime wants to find the probe. Oh, no! Don't miss the probe. Don't miss the probe. Look, he recalled the immortal! That's actually huge because the immortal's stuck, right? He walled himself off. He's going to have to kill his own pylon to get out now. And look, he's at 54 of 55 supplies. So with this pylon finishing, he'll be able to warp in maybe something. And then as soon as he kills the pylon, he's actually blocked again. So he needs to start at least 1 or maybe even 2 pylons right now and kill this one to get those units out of his base. Yeah, Warp Prism definitely a much bigger threat than a single Oracle or a Phoenix or 2. So Showtime finds a much more smooth way to break out of this. There's some units on each side. He would really like to get Showtime's Prism if he can, but Prisms are quick boys. You know, they've been tuned up a couple times over the year, given an oil change, maybe had the carburetor stolen. They go fast. They make a lot of pollution, you know. You guys think 5G networks put out a lot of RF frequencies. How much do you think warp gates use? Jeez. I mean, if you think about it, if you're between the warp gate and the warp destination, it's technically going through you. Why aren't people picketing installation of warp prisms? I digress. StarCraft players are smarter than that, I guess. That's actually the real answer. I'd be pretty surprised if I saw somebody intelligent enough to be good at StarCraft trying to picket cell phone towers. So Showtime now has the immortal advantage. because he's had his robo the whole game, hasn't managed to screw it up or lose it at all. Gets one of Arog's immortals here, and he's trying to get a pylon. He's trying to get back to using this, but it does not look like things are going to cut out that well for him here as everything gets blasted away. And once Showtime kills that robo, that's it. There's not anything else. He doesn't have another robo in production. He doesn't have another robo done. So his ability to make units is pretty much toast. That Prism does finish, and then it gets shot immediately. So GG Showtime with the 2-0. Very well done. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the ESL Pro Tour Europe. We're going to get into our next match as soon as possible.